Hi there. In this lecture we see Rashid Gibiatovich playing against Aleksander Nikitin. This is in 1970 Vasilevsky Memorial Tournament. So e4 from Nezhmetdinov, we have a Sicilian defense, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, now queen takes d4, encouraging the tempo gainer knight c6. Nezhmetdinov plays bishop b5, he's not minding giving up his light square bishop here. So sometimes we can get advantages on the dark squares later by giving up a light square bishop. But also the Maroczy bind makes more sense. There's no bad bishop, like on e2, potentially bad bishop. So it makes sense for this setup. Knight f6, knight c3, g6. White castles, bishop g7, rook e1, black castles. So now the threat, now that the bishop is protected by the king, the threat is knight takes e4, hitting the queen. The queen drops back to d2, and even though it blocks the bishop on c1, this bishop could fianchetto. So rook c8, we have h3 actually first before doing anything else, stopping possibilities like knight g4. We have b6, and now knight d4. The bishop goes back, and it unveils an attack also on c4. That's protected. Queen d7, bishop b2, rook fd8, knight d5. White has a very comfortable looking position here, and we see already a big mistake with e6. It turns out here black should try e5, even though that does seem like structurally suspect. It shuts down this b2 bishop. So for example, knight takes f6 check, bishop takes. Let's say we play knight b5. Black has a bit of play here after a6 and then b5. So c takes, a takes. If we play a4, b4, and let's play knight d5, black could take on d5, and it's not that great for white here after rook c2. If rook a b1, queen a7 hits f2, so there's counterplay here. If rook f1, bishop h4 with counterplay. And in fact, black is significantly better. So yes, if bishop c1, rook c5, and then here d5 liberates the black position, we would have to play bishop d2, and in which case this position, white's only got a small edge, if white has an edge. If we'd played, instead of bishop d2, e takes, we open up the bishop, and black takes out d5 as well, and black is significantly better here. This position as example. So in a nutshell, e5 is not as bad as it might seem structurally. It seems a move that's playable to shut down this b2 bishop. In the game, e6 is actually a big mistake, but can you see why for 200 points? This is an absolutely brilliant move which engines love as well. So it's nice when that intersection happens of a really top engine move and a brilliant move, and a kind of iron logic behind it as well. It's knight f5. It's trying to grab a dark square bishop without a counterpart. If we can take out the counterpart bishop. We have bishop takes d5. So all sorts of interesting options here, as well as bishop takes d5. If e takes, we can take on f6, check. Bishop takes f6, and we have the major threat here of queen h6, mating. Let's say king f8, it's not helping black. Black's going to get destroyed here, as example. If queen e8, this is a better try to play queen f8 on queen h6. We can play e takes first. We don't have to go in with queen h6 and queen f8. And here we just take out d8, and we just be clearly better the exchange up. So yes, queen e8, just take on f5, hitting the queen. On queen e6, which hits the bishop, so if queen h6, the bishop's lost, we can take on d8, take on f5. And again, we're just winning here with the exchange up. So yes, e takes, allowing the piece to be taken back. And with the dual threat of queen h6, which is kind of mating potentially, or bishop takes, it's just a winning position. If we look at e takes d5 next, knight takes g7, king takes. Queen d4 is powerful. So d takes e4, we crash through on the dark squares, and this is just great. We're going to be winning here with the exchange up. It's not quite mating yet, but with the exchange up. If queen e7 had been played here, e takes to take the queen away from f6. If the queen goes to e5, we're just winning here. This is just a winning position. So that's e takes d5. If g takes f5, knight takes f6, we get our piece back immediately. Dual threats of queen g5 and bishop takes d8. So this position, we are just actually doing fantastically well. And here, for example, we can just end up winning lots of material with a crushing attack as well. We've already got our material back. So it's bleak options. So bishop takes d5 is tried. We have knight takes g7, taking out the dark square bishop counterpart, amplifying this b2 bishop. We have e5. If king takes g7, e takes d5. If black tries to shut down the bishop, what would you play here for 5 points? Yeah, just f4. So on knight g8, just take, and this is really quite a strong position. If knight takes e4 here, what would be the strongest idea? Yeah, we can actually just take on e4. And here there is an only move for an advantage. We don't want our knight stranded. We want to keep up the attacking pressure. What would be the best move for white here? And it's also a restraining move. It's bishop f6. It's restraining the f-pawn. If we had played queen h6, e5, and black's actually got the advantage, the knight's stranded. But this is the crusher. If rook c7, queen h6, and here we just move away the knight, threatening queen g7 checkmate. So yes, knight takes e4, we have rook takes e4, bishop f6. Crushing. The queen can't even cross because knight takes e8. Can't get to f8 that easily. Yeah. So, after knight takes g7, e5 was tried. E takes d5, king takes, so we're not material down. f4, just trying to break down the barriers on this bishop. Knight e8, f takes e5, d takes, rook takes e5. f6. And now, very, very powerful move indeed. Guess what Nezhmetdinov plays here? Yeah, he doesn't mind sacrificing rook, queen e3. We have f takes e5. If rook c7, we can just pile up the pressure with rook e, the other one coming to e1, knight d6, rook e6, and then here the pressure's too much. Knight f5 is only temporary, g4. And then we're going to be crushing it. Rook takes f6. So f takes e5 is played. Queen takes e5 check. King f7. If king g8, queen h8 check. And here, what would you play for 10 points? We can cut the escape squares. And actually not just cut the escape squares. There's a bonus to this. We're threatening rook takes, and then queen g7 is kind of mating because the pawn covers e6. Example, knight d6, queen g7 is checkmate. Another example, b5, rook takes e8, does the job. Queen g7 is checkmate. So, king f7 tried, rook f1 check, queen gives herself up, that's taken, g takes, queen takes here, f5, and black actually resigned. If king e7, simply, we could actually... Well, there's not much options here. King g8, the queen and bishop work well together. Queen e6. And then here we've got, resources like bishop a3 check. But as well, to demonstrate bishop a3 check, we can play it here on king e7. And we could take our time with it. Take out h7. Take out a7. And celebrate the pin to win even more material. Crushing. So yes, so the game actually ended on queen takes f5 check. A really vivid example of a dark square bishop without counterpart, and the opening actually setting it up, the Sicilian check-over variation. So you might be a fan of check-over in Star Trek. So this is a variation where queen takes d4, bishop b5, giving up the light square bishop, and persistent dark square pressure as demonstrated in this game, but setting up the very nice Maroczy binds. It's a very comfortable looking game to play through. I like the iron logic of it. I hope you like the iron logic of this game as well. Beautiful stuff. Thanks so much. All comments, questions, likes and subscribes, really appreciated. Thanks so much.